Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to another live show. It's 5 o'clock here in the UK, and I know we've got an amazing audience, and Arsenal, more importantly, have an amazing fan base that are around the world tuning in to whatever it might be, the latest news, the match reaction, the match previews. So we're here to chat a little bit more, mainly around Friendlies and Zinchenko, and it's me and Turkish. How you doing?
Yes, all good, man. You?
Good. I think it was last week, wasn't it? We did the whole breakdown of that World Cup thing. God, a week goes by quickly, doesn't it?
It does, just like
Absolutely flies by. It feels like we just did that show. But yeah, anyway, look, guys, got a few bits to chat about. Mainly what December's going to look like, because we're starting to be drip-fed a little bit more information. Journalists are getting hold of some great info, relaying it to us, and we can kind of start to now predict a little bit more what that December and that build-up back to the restart of the Premier League is going to look like. And we do have to talk about Zinchenko, because he wasn't spotted in training today. Apparently Marquinhos was ill, so he didn't train. And quite frankly, when do they fly out? I imagine tonight or so, you know, it's not exactly like, quite frankly, if they're not playing today, they're not going to be playing tomorrow.
Unfortunately.
I'm going to leave it to you. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the friendly stuff or the Zinchenko chat?
I'll just start with the Zinchenko one, because it's an immediate concern, if anything.
Well, Kevin agrees. He says we've missed Zinchenko a lot. But the ER says Zinchenko's a liability. Guy's a disaster purchase. Sell him ASAP. Wow. Okay. I'm going to be consistent. I was critical of Kieran Tierney and his ability to stay fit.
Yeah.
Now the difference was, and is, that Tierney's is a sustained problem over a lot of his career, or certainly his Arsenal career. Zinchenko, actually, we'll do some live research on the show in a second. We'll just have a look at what his injury record's like at City. But there's something not quite right. I thought he was in with a shout of being in the Southampton squad, which to me says, well, he'll be nailed on to be available for PSV. Suddenly he's not. Do you get worried when it's just kind of like, well, we know so little about an injury, and we don't know if it's going to be next game or 2 months? I mean, it honestly feels a little bit like we don't know anything around this.
Worried, I guess. Yeah, you can look at it like that, but is it new, James? You know, the Arsenal and injury problems. It's been a long-running problem for us, and not only injury problems itself, but the lack of real maybe understanding behind the causes and eliminating the problem. Like, it's not the first time it's not the first time this year. Tomiyasu earlier in the year went out injured, and we didn't really know why. You know, it took a long time. The club didn't really let off on how long it's going to be, a predicted comeback date, and so on. It's a similar thing happening with Zinchenko, but similar things have happened with players in the past. I'm not too sure what it is. Are we unlucky? Potentially. But at the same time, you know, when it's so consistent over the years, I'm not too sure what to put it down to.
Okay, so he did miss some spells. He missed all of January because of COVID, bless him, last season. He had an unknown injury that kept him out a month as well. 5 games he missed. And apparently a fitness issue, but we missed 1 game. This is all from Transfermarkt.
Vague, isn't it? Very vague.
Yeah, a knock kept him out in December 2020 for 4 games. He missed 3 games because of quarantine. Okay, fair enough. And then another knock saw him miss 3 games September to October the 20th. You returned on my birthday. How nice of him. And a muscle injury as well before that. So you're right. These are very, very vague injuries. Yeah. And I think that the situation I compare it to is Tomiyasu, where for so long we didn't quite know why he wasn't back and when he was going to be back. I'm all for Arteta kind of keeping a trick up his sleeve and keeping things quiet, internal about an injury, and when a player might be back, might keep the opposition guessing. But if a player's out for another 3 weeks, I'd rather know he's out for another 3 weeks rather than, you know, we're still seeing and, you know, everything's a bit hush-hush, we don't really know what's going on. But I'm more asking questions than trying to give kind of answers to these things, because I know so little on the situation.
Got a comment here.
Go on.
Where is it? From Roman saying, I am Ukrainian and I saw a vlog in Ukrainian language, and Zinchenko said that he felt pain after 15 minutes in the Spurs game. He goes on to say, and he had something on his leg after that game too. I can send you the link to her vlog, so you may check it. But it is in Ukrainian and without English subtitles. Well, that ain't going to help me, Roman. I'm going to take your word for it. So it looks like it's off the back of that Tottenham game, a potential knock, but it's still very vague. And I think that's what we're asking here. Like, why so vague when, it looked like he was close to coming back a few weeks ago now.
Can I? You played Football Manager, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you have watching. If you haven't, you should. It's a great game. You ever have it where a player gets injured and you get that email saying, "Would you like to A, send them to physio, or B, give them an injection?" Yep. and I never give them the injection. Yeah. I'm like, no. I'm sent to physio now. I wonder whether, and I'm sure it happens kind of all levels. I'm not actually legitimately talking injection, guys. It's an analogy. It's a joke.
It's FM, Football Manager.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I wonder whether there was a sense of the Tottenham game being so massive. It was a game where we were going to have a lot of possession, and they probably wanted our best possession-based players. And Arteta thought, he's not fit for this. Because I remember he missed the Europa game in the week before. And what was the week before that? Was it Brentford a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, a couple of weeks before that he missed Brentford, right. So I think, if I'm just venturing a guess, there might have been a little bit of, let's get him in for this, knowing that in the run-in I'm going to want to use Tomiyasu against Salah anyway. And then the games after that, we should really be fine with what we've got. So I wonder whether maybe they pushed it with Zinchenko. He came off in that game. And it wasn't a direct injury that brought him off. No. I remember they just brought him off around the 65th, 70th minute or whatever it was, because it was, they clearly felt they'd given him all they really could in that situation. So, yeah, I don't know. I wonder whether there was maybe a little bit of short-term gain but long-term pain in that situation.
Potentially. It's hard. It's hard to.
It's really hard.
It's hard to say for sure, because I think if we were to predict who Arteta's starting left back is, I assume we're going to say Zinchenko. Ideally, if all three are fit. Yeah. And that Tottenham game came after an international break where there was 2 weeks off, and you would have expected any slight knock or fitness issue to be eliminated in those 2 weeks. So it was a shame that obviously he came off in the Tottenham game, and we haven't seen him since, right?
I don't believe we've seen him.
Yeah, we haven't, not even on the bench. So I assume not even on the bench. But it's hard to say, James. Is it unfortunate? Is it a problem maybe nutritionally with what we do at the club, or the way we handle injuries, or is it just simply what you said about Arteta wanting to keep quiet on all things Arsenal and maybe spring a surprise? But like you said, if the injury is a minimum of 3-4 weeks away, then there's no real risk in letting people know that the player is out for the foreseeable future, rather than have us hoping, maybe expecting to see him back every other game.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we know? We know that Tomiyasu was out around January, February. He was kind of rushed back in January. And then basically spend the rest... When you actually think about it, when you're drip-fed information, he might be back soon, could be a couple of weeks. When you're drip-fed that information, before you know it, it's April. And I think that's when he started getting minutes. He came on against Man United, then he started against Leeds at left back, started against Tottenham, then he got injured again, I think, in the Newcastle game. So, okay, that's pretty much the end of the season. So he missed a huge chunk of last season, probably a good 33% of it. I'm roughly guessing. You guys, we can all find out the actual numbers. But that, I remember the whole time, when he got injured, no one said he's going to be out for 2 months. Yeah. I'm pretty sure nobody said this is a 2-month injury. I'm pretty sure it was he's got a calf problem, Arsenal monitoring, hopefully. Could be a case of weeks, blah, blah. Even when El Neni got injured, really, they said a significant injury, but we didn't really know that much about how bad it was going to be or quite how long. And I think it was...
Partey the same, the most recent injury.
You're right. With Partey, they're kind of always a little bit harsh about quite how long it's going to be. But with this Zinchenko one, basically what I'm asking is, do you think they knew that he wasn't going to be available for all these games? Or do you think he's been having setbacks? Or do you think... I don't know. It's very strange. It's hard to talk about because we actually know so little about the whole thing.
Did they know? That's my problem. I don't think they did. And I think history tells us that sometimes they don't know what's going on.
Well, it can be hard with injuries.
It can be hard, but I don't know many other clubs that have so many injuries that don't have an end date.
Right, I get what you mean. There's always a rough idea of when they could be back.
Yeah, whether it's 3 weeks, 3 months, or longer.
That suggests it's tactical. That suggests we'd rather keep it. He'll play when he plays.
Potentially, yeah. But I think for fans, it'd be nice to know if he's, because look, I think our performances have taken a hit since he's been out. If I'm, off the top of my head, since he's been out, have we been at the best Arsenal we've seen this season?
Liverpool really was the only one where I thought we got to.
Yeah.
Even that was more punch for punch, and
Yeah.
Liverpool are a great side, so you've got to consider that. But yeah, I know what you mean. In possession, yeah, certainly the Leeds game didn't reflect a performance, or Southampton didn't reflect what Brentford and Bournemouth did before, which are similar away games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's tactical, because if you're going into this weekend, you'll be facing Forest. Forest will be trying to think about Arsenal's best threats and how they're going to deal with them, and it helps Forest to know if Zinchenko's available or not. Yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah.
But then you think, should we be worrying about Forest worrying about that? If that makes sense, I think we should just be.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know. Maybe we should. Maybe.
You don't need to trick Forest into beating them.
No, I know.
Surely not.
Well, no, but never take anyone lightly and all that. Little they did to Liverpool. Yeah. It's a tricky one. I think the overarching message is we're frustrated because we will love Zinchenko. We want to see him playing. Aidan says can't be tactical. It's not that deep.
And he said clearly it's a recurrence of an injury. He's had a setback. But the question is that
Okay.
why is there so many situations similar to this one?
Right. Okay. Thank you. That is the best point. Well, I'm trying to make sense of this all in my head. You're right. So how many recurrences of how many setbacks? How many? Tomiyasu, a great example back in the early part of the year we mentioned. You're right. That doesn't make it. So why do we keep having this sort of sense of actually it's another setback? Actually, not quite ready. Actually, I don't know.
That's where it becomes not a concern, because we don't really know the ins and outs, but maybe a worry, or maybe we should just take it with a pinch of salt moving forward. But that doesn't help when it's key players. When it's key players, you want the key players to return as soon as possible. So I guess it's a balance for them between telling the truth for us fans, but at the same time kind of protecting themselves, because maybe a setback might occur, or maybe they didn't diagnose the issue as well as they could have, or as precisely as they could have. It just happens quite often at Arsenal. That's why right now I've become so used to it. I'm just like, it is what it is,
Yeah, and it's happening to a lot of teams. Tottenham and Liverpool in particular at the moment having their injury issues. Chelsea have just lost Reece James. So you kind of don't want to get bogged down in it too much, especially when we do have a lot of very good cover at left back.
But the thing, let's say yes, and there are definitely, because Cape Town here put Thiago and Keita, and there are definitely examples of similar situations across other clubs. But let's say with Reece James, initially it looked like it's going to be a few weeks out. Then they have another reassessment of it a couple of weeks into the injury, and they say, listen, and I don't know whether an op was needed or what happened, but they said it's going to be longer term. He's not going to be available for the World Cup potentially. And now that's a clear update on the situation, where Chelsea fans know now not to expect to see his name prior to the World Cup beginning at the very least. Whereas with Zinchenko, on the other hand, it's like, is he back next game? Is he back next game? There's very few answers. A lot of questions, very few answers.
Let's get everyone's comments, because I see them popping up, guys. You guys are saying some really interesting stuff. So DJ says, Zinni was in the team when we were playing really well. In my opinion, he's missed. He definitely needs to be back for the Chelsea game. I think we all want him back for the Chelsea game. I agree. AFC Cape Town says, Katie had the same issues at Celtic. Zinchenko never played back-to-back at City, so his body never went through such demand. It's not just Arsenal. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, but like I said, we're kind of not talking about this situation in isolation. This is one situation in a long line of many over the years that don't really have much clarity. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more clarity would help.
Yeah.
Us fans maybe be a bit more easy about it and maybe not question it. Listen, it's not the be all and end all. We're still, top of the league and top of the group in the Europa League.
Yeah.
So no one's here moaning or being negative about anything. It's just questioning why it seems to happen to us quite often.
Yeah.
Like I said, with Tomiyasu is the most recent example, and that's this calendar year. So already this calendar year, we've had maybe 2-3, if you include Partey, where there's not much clarity around why, how, what type of injury, how long he's out for. And over the years, you can mention a lot more. Wilshere, Diaby, Van Persie, Cazorla. I remember Cazorla was meant to be back how many times? And he never actually did return.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that was sad. Ahmed said, "How's it going, people?" Thank you for joining us.
Dave Jordan said it might be a calf-specific problem because it's similar with Tomiyasu, and he says get an expert in.
I mean,
that would be on them. That would be on them to do and provide the clarity for themselves more so than us, and then but in turn for themselves and us.
Wait, does he mean get an expert in as in on the channel?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think he might. Well, you know,
I don't know.
there's a video that I
can.
can. There's a, you know who I can point you towards, guys. This is a video I did about 4 or 5 months ago, but it's still relevant today.
Oh, he did say yes. So he said, "What doctor did you have on the show? Was it Raj?" Asked for his insight.
That's it. Yeah. Dr. Raj Brar. Yeah. Tierney part in Arsenal's injury problems explained. I'm going to copy this link and put it. How do I? Oh God, sorry, I'm being really useless here. I'm going to put this into the comment section. Right, copy.
Oh yeah, Smith Rowe's another example. Tasha just mentioned Smith Rowe there. I guess that's another.
That's another one. That's not a calf issue. That's, I think, a groin hip problem.
Yeah.
But you're right. There was a lot of like ambiguity around when he was going to be around. So eventually they just said he needs surgery, so he's out. It's like, okay, well at least we know. Now we're not going into games expecting Smith Rowe to be available.
Exactly.
I'm going to put it here. Interview with Dr. Rajpal Brar. He was fantastic. He spoke about calf injuries being this like he said they're very sensitive and like you can get recurrence of the injury. You can think it's kind of back to normal, but they can come back a lot, which is why Tomiyasu was then out again and why they've actually been really careful with bringing him back in. So yeah, maybe that's AFC PICK10 says put it in the description. That's a great idea. We'll put that in the description as well.
You can pin it in the chat though, and then it's there for the rest of the show, and then at least after you can.
Oh, it's been pinned. Thank you to whoever did that.
Nice.
Big up production. Love when Turkish and James work. Thank you.
Love.
Yeah, this is the one, Tasha, right? Is muscle related problem. What else? We'll go through super chats in a sec, but I just want to make sure I don't miss any comments. David says Tommy is good cover for Zinny, no panic. Yeah, but so is Tierney. We're fine in that area. I think it's just if you're going to have a game where you're going to play with an inverted left back and you have a lot of the ball, you'd rather it's your best player doing that. But if you said to me, we're playing Forest and they're really weak at right back and we need to really flood that side, then forget Tierney being available or not. I'd say, well, Zinchenko, I'd say, well, Tierney's your man then. So,
You know what? As you went through his Man City injuries, I think that was an oversight from me and from a lot of us, well, fans in the studio in particular. But I don't think his injury problems were as highlighted as maybe they are or have been in this show, because when you went through them, that is quite a hefty injury record. And when I think back, Kyle Walker's tended to be fit the majority of his time in the past few years. Obviously, he's out injured now. Cancelo was playing left back an awful lot and he'd fill in at right back if Walker was out. But off the top of my head now, yeah, there were concerns before he joined the club. It's just that Man City have so much depth that it's never really in the news when one of their players are out, because they're still winning games and they're still rolling teams over. I
don't think his injury record is... Well, okay, in 2020, 2021... That is just an awful set of dates to read out, isn't it? He missed 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 12. He missed 12 games. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, what's that? 26 games.
And what's interesting is that's between September 20th and December 18th of 2020. So that all happened in 3 or 4 months. So maybe there's a little bit of a history of recurrence in his injuries. Here, 21-22. He missed 1 match, whatever that was. Nothing. One was September to October, the other was January. So, nothing really there. I guess you could say they're kind of close apart, but not really. I don't know. I don't know. I guess there's one little bit of history there that suggests that he's had them kind of alternating. In 1920, he had a knock in January and then a calf muscle strain in February. So you could say they're kind of next to each other. Knee surgery. I don't know. Maybe we're just looking for things. Maybe we're just looking for patterns.
We're just trying to understand it a bit more because there is no clarity on it. So,
well, listen. We hope he's Will we get him back? Because like I rate him so highly, and
It's
I
going to
think
be one of those ones where we see a lineup and he's in it.
yeah, you might be right, and also. We talk about giving game time to everyone and saying, okay, we don't have 2 players for all 11 positions, but we have 15 or 16 that Arteta can really depend on. But one of those is Zinchenko for when he plays Tierney left back, Tomiyasu right back, and then actually Xhaka needs a rest as Zinchenko plays in midfield.
Yeah.
I know we've not seen that yet. I know I've been like banging on that drum for a while, but you know, it gives another layer. I think he would have started one of these games in midfield. And Xhaka would have had a little bit of a rest if it weren't for just...
Probably, yeah.
If it weren't for the injury.
Would have helped. Yeah, it would help.
Lengen Sweet says he doesn't get injured much. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say his injury record suggests he gets injured a lot.
Yeah, there's no long-term injuries there, but there is vague periods of absence. Whether it's a knock, whether it's fitness, whether it's unknown. You know, he's missed a fair few games over the last 3 years.
Yeah. Dave says probably why he wasn't first choice. He's class but made of glass. 30 million seemed like a no-brainer, but we still went for Lissandro first. Okay, maybe there was a...
Maybe. Yeah.
It's funny, like, when you go down a path and you're looking for a certain... You know, we were talking about Zinchenko and how class he was before. Now we're kind of talking about his injury record, and then you go looking into it, and then you start wondering why we got him for as much as we did, and we wanted Lissandro first, and all these things. You can start to maybe go down a path, and everything starts to fit in a certain way. It could just be, and it likely is that he's just been incredibly unlucky. But these are very interesting points that I think have just made for, I don't know, I suppose an interesting discussion. But
yeah, like I said, this discussion might be for nothing if you just see him in the squad tomorrow, because that's what I assume is going to happen. That's why I don't, dwell on it too much, because over the years I've kind of lost faith in the medical team's understanding of situations, so I just wait and see what happens.
Jan says, I know a lot of time has passed since then, but us signing an injured Kim Kallstrom shook my faith in the medical department.
Listen, he's laughing, but you gotta laugh because you'll cry otherwise. That is true. That's another example of like nonsense from an area of the club that doesn't make sense.
That guy scored the penalty against Wigan.
Yeah.
Or a penalty against Wigan. So quite frankly, he has a place in Arsenal history.
It's mad. Kim Kallstrom. We needed a striker that window as well, and imagine we bought Kim Kallstrom.
What windows are we not saying the words "we need a striker"?
Yeah,
I remember when we had Van Persie and Adebayor, it was "we need backups." Actually, we never really needed it because we had Eduardo and Van Persie and stuff. But when it was only Van Persie, it was "we need a backup." We brought in Shamak. Year after, we need a backup.
Yeah, you sell Van Persie and then you need a striker.
Yeah, mad. Kim Kallstrom, Football Manager, top 3 signing, says Aiden. I remember him having a very good game at home to West Ham once. Remember that 3-1 win where I think Vermaelen pinged it out to Giroud and he was like going behind the defence and he took the touch on his toe or with his right foot and then...
I forgot, against West Ham.
Yeah, it was a great goal. Let me find it. Why am I showing you this midstream? Because why not? It was around the time, I think we just booked our place in the... What is wrong with me? I'm typing Arsenal 3-1 Arsenal. And it's not popping up. That is just so typical.
No, look, they've been out the free frees, everything.
Yeah.
Fan cams have come up, for fuck's sake.
Let me find Giroud goal. It was great. Do you guys in the comments remember it? Took the touch of the not outside. This one. Do you remember this? Do you remember this goal? Vermaelen pings it.
Let me remember.
And then look at this touch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great goal. Giroud's highlight reel is unbelievable.
Cazorla's there as well, man.
What a highlight reel. Can you guys in the comments remember? Anyway, he was very good in that game. So, good on him. I think it's recency bias and red herring. I would assume it's just a run-of-the-mill muscle strain and we don't want a repeat of last season, pushing people too far, then being out for longer. Could absolutely... Sky Sports James's death stare has sent that in. Thank you so much. I need to have a look at this. How do I look at your account? Why don't you let me look?
For some reason, you can't click on them.
No, really?
You can only do it on your phone.
Huh.
Which one was it? Sky Sports James death stare. Here you go.
Dave says Arsenal women apparently had a lot of injuries last season too. Test of grass.
He's got 52 subscribers as well.
52 subs. Oh my god.
I don't know. There's nothing on there though.
There's a okay. Thank you so much for your support, I suppose. Right. Quit baiting me out, says. Anyway, thank you so much. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the super chat. CV said 3 times Gabriel Jesus went 10 plus games without a goal at City. But we knew he wasn't an out and out goal scorer. We knew he wasn't there just to put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. So my thing was if he could contribute, especially in the Europa League season, 20 goals, 20 to 25 a season across all comps, 20. And, you know, be a part of our build-up, get a lot of assists, all that, then I'm not as bothered. But
yeah, I think that's what it is. You know, a lot of us knew that Gabriel Jesus wasn't the most clinical coming in from Manchester City, but what he has done is improve the quality in the side. He's helped create more space for Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, Xhaka as well this season. It's not just about the goals he scores with Jesus, it's about overall, and even the game against Southampton. His quality at times, at moments, shines through. And he possesses a lot more quality than most of the Arsenal side, especially when you're looking for that one moment from someone out of nothing. A lot of us would still look at Gabriel Jesus, even though Martinelli, Saka, Xhaka, Odegaard at points this season have had moments. Yeah. I think we still look at Jesus for their moments. He hasn't hit the back of the net in a few games. Is it a cause for concern? Yes, but at the same time, is it a cause to get on his back about it? No, because the club should have bought another striker in the summer. The club should have bought another striker in that's in a different mode to be able to change it up. And listen, changing it up might not work. We still might draw that game 1-1, but at least, you know, you have something different there, different type of threat, so you can, in the last 10-15 minutes, try something else if it's not working. Instead, we pretty much made like for like subs and tried pretty much the same thing that wasn't working for the majority of the second half. So I don't put it all on Jesus. We got the Jesus that I knew we bought, which is a striker that all-round play, quality, finishing, you know, yeah, it's not up there with the very best, but all-round, I think he's improved our side leaps and bounds. And just because he hasn't scored in a few games doesn't mean I'm gonna turn on him, look at him differently, because I've got exactly the Jesus that I expected to get. To be honest, I'm probably happier than what I expected. Yeah,
he's beyond what I thought we were getting.
Yeah, so it's not about turning on him. Like,
he's been amazing.
It's his first few months at the club, and I don't know, this is coming from someone who has looked sideways at a lot of players over the years. But I start looking at players sideways when it becomes consistently a problem. And I don't mean 5 games, I don't mean 15 games. I mean a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Sure. With Gabriel Jesus, quality player, I'm glad he signed for us. I'm glad he's here. I just feel like if goals become a problem, I look more at the club than I do Gabriel Jesus. He's never been the 20-goal-a-year striker. So are we going to get on his neck if he doesn't get 20? I don't think that's fair. I think you look at the club and say, well, you know, maybe you should have added something. But top 4 is the target this year, and we're on course for that. So it's still very early, 11 games into the season. We are on course. So I think even if he wasn't to hit 20, we should still make top 4. And then it's what the club do to build on that position next season, moving into Champions League, where, with all due respect, you're going to need someone better than Eddie Nketiah. If not Jesus starting a fair few of those Champions League games too. But maybe the club have put themselves in a good position. Maybe Jesus was the first piece of the striker puzzle. Maybe Eddie Nketiah's contract was the second piece of the striker puzzle. Maybe next year we buy a striker that completes the puzzle. Maybe Balogun comes well, even that. I wouldn't be very confident going into the Champions League with Jesus, Nketiah and Balogun. I still think if we make Champions League football, which we should, you buy someone a bit different. I'd still love a Tony. I'd still love a Patrick Schick. I just don't think that the club will be going in that direction. It just seems like they want what they want, and they're just going to try and emulate the City period of success, where rotational options, you know, fluidity amongst the front forward line, the front 4 players. That's how I see the contract for Eddie. I think there's similarities, little similarities with Jesus' play. It's just the quality all round drops off. Sure. But he's still young as well, so we'll see. I mean, he's been given a big responsibility this season, so we'll see how he kicks on.
Yep. I do think the Jesus hate has been too much recently, says Aidan. People are going too far. Dave Jordan says if Jesus was clinical, he'd cost 100 million. There's a reason he was so cheap. Let's hope he develops. Benzema was getting whistled for not being clinical 5 years ago. I do think when you look at his overall play, Gabriel Jesus, I think there's a point there. Like if he did everything he did, but was also able to put it in the back of the net 30 times a season, every club would have wanted him. Barcelona, Real Madrid, and they might have, and maybe couldn't. We know Real Madrid actually did want him. And yeah, you're not talking a 45 million fee, even with a year left on his contract. You're talking you're probably talking 80, 90, 100 mil, because goal scorers are so rare, and you can chuck on that the fact that City probably wouldn't even sell him for that. So it's one of those.
It's a fair point.
Dave says he also says disagree with buying another striker last summer. That's running before you can walk. Would have been a misallocation of funds. Building a Champions League squad while still in the Europa League. Eddie is fine for Europa League. Yes, but that maybe leads into the point you were making. The next part.
Maybe they've left themselves in that position to get Champions League football bare minimum, and then the Champions League money and exposure helps us go for maybe 2 or 3 world class or close to world class players that can kind of finish the squad puzzle.
Well, he also says that Jesus won't hold us back from 80 points, but maybe from 95. And yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, look at us agreeing, Dave. That's nice. But no, some great points made there. People need to be patient with Jesus, says Temedaya. Yeah, we'll leave the Jesus thing there. But I think you're right. I'm excited to see Balogun because he's doing so well on loan.
I think he's got 7 goals now or something. 6, 7 goals.
Where's he gone? It's not Ream, is it? They've gone to Ream? Oh God, let me see. Follow
where he's gone.
Balogun. He's playing at Ream. Is it Reim?
REIMS or something like that.
Yeah, it's pronounced Ream. Anyway, so I'm glad he's doing well, and Patino's doing really well. I heard the chance that they've got 7 goals, 2 assists. Fair play to him. That's good. That's good. Let's get the transfer marked seal of approval, of course.
What does this do?
I want to see how many games he's played and minutes and all that. Following Balogun. Stats 22-23. Big up transfer marked. Thank you very much. 12 games in Liga, 7 goals, 2 assists. Yeah, as was mentioned there. He's played as a centre forward. Okay, fair enough. Although it doesn't say where else. So 10 games as centre forward. Where else has he played? Looks like he's only played as centre forward.
Yeah.
And has he been starting most of those games? Yes. Didn't start the first one against Marseille. Got an hour. But then quite a few 90s on the board there. Quite a few 90 minutes, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's probably why it says 10. Maybe the other 2 were sub appearances.
Right, makes sense.
Probably.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, 26 minutes here against Angers.
Yeah.
Angers. Yeah, look, well done. That's
started off well.
It's a really good. That's a really good start to his loan. I knew he was, but I didn't really have a proper look at the numbers. We'll leave the Zinchenko here, Zinchenko thing here as well. But Bilal does ask, why do we need to dwell on Zinchenko's injury? We have Kieran Tierney, who can do better, in my opinion. Love Tierney, but you know, it's what you said. It's the patterns of these injuries and the way they're kind of being drip fed to us in terms of information. Very little we're actually getting in terms of understanding what's wrong with these injuries. And I'm not for 1 second saying they're wrong to do that. I don't like it, but that's because I'm a fan. I'm thinking as a fan, I want to know what's going on, not as, you know, if Arteta came out at a press conference and said, you're never going to get accurate team news from us.
Yeah.
You know, then that wouldn't do us any favours because the opposition would know, but then I'd be like, okay, fair enough. And listen,
should understand it a bit more.
Let's talk about December. The World Cup, I believe the final is December the 18th. Arsenal, and when I get the article up, are looking at doing arranging some friendlies. We know that it looks like they're going to go out to Dubai.
Yeah.
Simon Collins, not Callings. Let me write that right. Simon Collins, Evening Standard football writer, covers Arsenal a lot. He put in an article that Arsenal want to play 3 friendlies in December. Possibility that one of them could be at the Emirates on the 17th, the day before the World Cup final. Not finalised yet, though, and may play in Dubai like the other 2 games. I think he's saying like the other 2 games are likely to be in Dubai. So They're in Dubai because the idea is that they're going to get players back very, very quickly after the World Cup, fly them straight over. I don't think Arteta's going to want to waste any time.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the African Cup of Nations ended for Partey and he was straight on a plane? And then that morning was in the squad for Liverpool.
Straight away.
Obviously, we're not talking anything as drastic as that, but essentially, I don't think he's going to want to waste too much time to want to get them playing with the team and fit and ready. Now, we looked at the squad as well of players who could be going. And it doesn't look like it's too many. So most of the group will be with Arteta. But I'm guessing you are in favour of this idea of getting these friendlies, especially maybe one at the Emirates, and getting ahead, because our first game, if we beat Brighton, will be that 4th round on the 22nd of December.
Yeah, I'm in favour of it. It makes sense. Keep the players active. And I think the one on the 17th probably makes sense as well when you consider the week the World Cup ends. We'll have a League Cup tie and then straight into West Ham, which won't be an easy game. So I think maybe having that game a few days later to get the players back into the run of things, especially considering by that time we'll have the majority of our players back, regardless of who makes the final. So it makes sense to me.
I think it makes sense. I think if you're trying to get the semi-competitive minutes into the players, in the days before you come back for the Carabao Cup, I can't imagine managers being too happy with that. And I think in reality, at worst even, Arteta might have 2 players still at the World Cup, by the time those friendlies really get going. So, but do you think they'll go on a break now between that Wolves game and then the return for mid-season, pre-season? Or do you think they'll just keep training and keep sort of staying fit throughout? I don't know.
I think happiness is also key to any successful business team and so on. And I think when you consider the workload this season, the fact the World Cup is midway through it, I think it'd be beneficial to give them a break as well. I think spending time with family, there's nothing more important than life than family. Friends and you're right. Health and so on. So part of health, it's not always physical, mental health as well, and being dragged left, right, and centre week in, week out, for your club or your country, it can take its toll on you. So it's a nice gesture. I don't think they have to do it, but it'd be a nice gesture to be like, here's 2 weeks. If you haven't made the World Cup, go and spend it with your family. We're in and around the top of the table. We've done our job in the Europa League. We've got the harder work to come. Go and take these couple of weeks, enjoy. We'll come back. We'll have a few friendlies, and then we kickstart the business end of the season. So I think it'd be beneficial to give them some time with family for sure.
Yeah, Jitesh asks. He says not many international players. Well, no, not when we looked. It was where was it? What was our list? Arsenal's World Cup squad. So Turner, Tomiyasu, Partey, Saka, and Xhaka we had down as the almost definite starters. And then Jesus, Saliba, Ramsdale could start, but probably not. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. Okay, listen, our squad, that's 8 out of 16, 17 that could be playing regularly. But that's still a lot. White, Gabriel, Martinelli. Okay, they could go. I don't think they will. I'd like them to.
Potentially, especially with the injuries England have at the moment in time. White could find himself there. I doubt he'd play many games, even if he did, but that's more beneficial for us. I'd prefer that. Gabriel, potentially again. Not too sure. And who's the last one you said?
Martinelli.
Again, I'd say Martinelli. It'd be good for Martinelli to go, but even if he was to go, similar to Ben White, I wouldn't expect him to have many minutes considering who's in front of him and the quality they possess in the side. So it's just starters I'm worried about, and even one of them is Tomiyasu. And when you look at the position and the players we have in those positions, as long as touch wood is not no big problem, we're comfy. Ben White, Tierney, Zinchenko. Hopefully by then his injury is not a debate. And then you have Partey, Xhaka, where I look at them two and think they need to come out the back end fit and healthy. They need to. Yeah, because there is no depth in quality in those positions. So very different to Tomiyasu, and Saka probably the same as well. Saka, Partey and Xhaka for me very, very important to what we're doing this season and what we hope to achieve come May. So I'm looking at those three in particular and listen, just hoping for the best.
Martinelli won't start over Vinicius, says Aiden. Rafa says Martinelli ain't getting a plane ticket. Shame. He deserves it. Stress says, be real. Eddie, Sambi, Lokonga, Reece offer nothing. Many are injury prone. You know who. I think we need 3 big signings in Jan. It's been 6 years without Champions League. There was another. I agree that mentally we shouldn't train non-stop during the World Cup. Use time to prevent players' fatigue. We don't usually get the luxury of that. I'm with you. I'd send them off for 2 weeks. There you go. Go have a holiday. We'll catch up in Dubai. Even that will be like a nice sort of warm weather training.
Maybe they can bring their family there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Dubai. That's that you visit Dubai during this period. You don't visit it during the summer months over here because it's too hot there. So, yeah, why not? Why not bring the families along and enjoy?
Southgate. Aiden says Southgate will run Saka into the ground.
That's the worry.
Yeah,
that's the worry because is there much competition for him on that side?
Well, Sancho's not really been doing it.
Is there much competition for him on that side?
Rashford.
Sancho's less competition this tournament than he was last tournament. Sancho was meant to be the guy last tournament, and Saka stepped in and he became the guy. And now Sancho's looking very Pepe-ish out there. Not many people want to mention it, but when it was Pepe, everyone wanted to talk about it. What happened to Pepe? 70 mil. Well, let's talk about Sancho as well, people.
Pepe's numbers are better.
Of course, they was better, but we still wasn't happy with it. Rightly so, because we thought he's coming in to change the direction of the ship, but obviously not. But with Sancho, he's really flopped so far.
Yeah, he struggled for sure. I mean, so friendlies in December. Yeah, I think they'll take a couple of weeks off. They'll regroup. They'll probably have about. Okay, so hold on. So when do they break up for the World Cup? When's that?
So our game with Wolves is the 12th.
Right.
Saturday the 12th.
So consider them from the 13th, either gone to the World Cup or on holiday.
I'd say so, yeah. 13th, yeah. 14th.
So I think they'll come back around the 27th, 28th of November. And then they'll give themselves about 2-3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks of December before that. While playing some friendlies. And then back for about... back for the Carabao Cup and straight
Enough time to keep them happy, enjoy with your family, but get back to business and prepare for the next games coming up. 100%. I think there's enough time there to get everything you need to get done, both motivation, happiness, and key tactical moves.
Colby says Saka will start every game. He'll play like Pedri at Barcelona, top player. But I heard he played something like 70 games last year. Apparently, it took him to the. Oh God, there was something else he played. It slipped my mind. I can't remember. There was another tournament he played.
What a young one or something?
Yeah, something like that. He played like the Euros, and then he played something else.
Cape Town says Euros, Olympics. Pereira says.
It might have been that. Yeah.
Was there an Olympics? Yeah.
Why am I'm being so thick?
Was there an Olympics? Why can't I remember the Olympics?
Guys, I'm being really, really, really dumb. Why can't I remember Olympics?
Okay, maybe for me, because Usain Bolt's not there no more. The jazz around it has gone, because for me, I only tuned into to those races. Aside from him, I don't really. Tokyo Olympics.
I'm being so thick.
I don't remember what happened over there, but yeah. Luckily, this is Arsenal fan TV and not Olympic fan TV.
DL Sports.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I used to be really into it. I used to watch a lot more tennis as well, like I did Wimbledon. And I think especially since being here, I'm just so like Arsenal and Premier League. I used to watch a lot more of like football outside of it was Tokyo Olympics. It's all coming back to me. I used to watch a lot more football outside of the Premier League as well. But now I'm just so like tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. But yeah, they're talking about the Nations League. Yeah, I think he played Nations League as well. He's played a lot. Anyway, someone did ask about Emery to Villa and what we think of that.
Good luck to him to a certain extent. Good luck to him aside from when he plays Arsenal. That's how I see it. I don't really have bad taste with Unai Emery. It didn't work out. I believe he had to go when he had to go. It was too much at that time. But I also feel like his reputation was hard done by here. So I was glad that he managed to repair it somewhat over at Villarreal. And now he's going for it again. Aston Villa are a club that have spent a decent amount of money last few years. I think they're a club that have ambitions of breaking into Big Six, Top Six, whatever it is.
Sorry, it's come back to me. It wasn't this summer. Do you know this? Okay, I know now. I've just got so confused because time has flown.
Yeah.
So the Euros, I kept thinking the Euros in my brain was this last summer. It wasn't. It was the summer before,
2021, yeah.
which was when Tokyo was. Tokyo 2020
was in 2021.
But it was in 2021 because of the pandemic, like the Euros.
Yeah, like the Euros.
That's what I was sitting there going, we didn't just have an Olympics.
I still don't remember it though.
I was like, we did not just have an Olympics.
I still don't remember it.
Yeah, so I was just, my brain couldn't get I was like, what is going on? Yes.
Who won 100 meters then? Let me know in the chat.
That makes sense.
Who's taken over the role of the fastest in the world? He will never be the fastest in the world as long as Bolt is around. But
Rafa says Emery's reign was peak banter era. Do you know how I feel about the Emery thing? Dave says here, can't hate Emery. Just felt sorry for him at the end. To be fair, a bunch of clowns in the dressing room, and we can't win leagues with this style of play. Okay. I reflect on that time, and I actually think the players were pretty horrific in probably the way they operated under Emery, if I'm honest. Yeah. We heard the rumours about the mocking behind the scenes. Listen, fans are going to mock, and that's not really okay, but it happens, and in some ways, there's some who do it in a rude and abusive way. Some are doing it in a more kind of like, that's your thing, in a more endearing, but it's not really endearing, it's still quite rude. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Kind of way.
I think the work that Arteta's done since coming in should kind of help us realise what Emery was actually dealing with.
Yeah, I completely
Abba, Guendouzi, Ozil, that's three, let's say, disciplinary issues, players that he had to deal with, and then he had that snitch in the dressing room or whatever that period was. These were all, the same squad of players that Emery had. It's just that Emery didn't, have the backing that Arteta had, not only from the club but also the fans and generally around football. It just, everything turned to banter around him rather than the problems and the mess he really had to deal with. And not only that, coming after Arsene Wenger, I think coming after Arsene Wenger, it was never going to be an easy job, even though Wenger, was part of that fall off at the end, finishing outside the top four twice. So the standards were already pretty low. Wenger's name is still, legendary to Arsenal fans. So
yeah,
it wasn't an easy stomping ground for Emery. That's why I'm glad that he went and did his thing elsewhere. We brought him in for Europa League. We went to Europa League
Italian won the 100 meters in Tokyo. You're right. Because we had a great...
That's how you know it's a mess now. No wonder I didn't watch the Olympics.
That was...
when did Italians start running fast?
Because they also won Eurovision and the Euros. So it was a great summer for Italy. Thank you, Ant.
How did the fastest man in the world go from Bolt to... Who was it? To an Italian man.
I forgot his name. But yeah.
It's crazy.
And Berrettini got to the Wimbledon final, so things were quite good.
Sorry to all Italians out there if you take offence to that, but I'm shocked. The Italian man is the fastest man in the world at this moment in time.
Okay, it was a good summer. Yeah, you're right about the Messi. You're right about the Messi comments.
Yes, yeah.
You're right about the mess that he had to deal with. And actually, when you reflect on that squad, that at the time I thought, oh, maybe there's something in it. You can't look backing up. If it weren't for Lacazette and Aubameyang, we really did not have a lot going for us in that squad, if I'm being completely honest.
Even Lacazette, mate.
He delivered a good season though under Emery.
Yeah.
28 goals and assists, I think.
Yeah, all round, yeah. that was it for him though. That was it. After that,
he's good.
We ain't seen that Lacazette since.
But he also did a lot of things that just completely and utterly proved, in my opinion, that he was not the guy for us. Played Torreira at number 10 so he could press higher up the pitch. With Xhaka and Guendouzi behind, you're like, come on, we need more than this. And the constant changing of formations and always playing to what the opposition were doing and not actually worrying about how we play the game. I felt there was this... I didn't like the way he approached a lot of games. In his second season, in his first season, people reflect on Emery being a disaster. I think his first season is very underrated. Yeah, it went badly at the end, I agree. We shouldn't have missed out on top four the way we did. We beat Newcastle at home in April. We were in a great position and we bottled it, for sure. But at the same time, look on most of that season, and we actually played well. A Europa League final that, look, we got it wrong on the day, but we were good enough to beat that Chelsea team. We beat some good sides to get there. Napoli, Valencia, can't remember who else, but there were some good runs. I think Rennes we beat as well, 3-1 down. We turned that around. We won the North London Derby. We gave Klopp's Liverpool in their prime a really good game. Drew 1-1 at the Emirates with them. So there were things he actually did well in his first season, but ultimately it was all a bit too short term. The likes of Socrates arriving, Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan was already there, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it was just never going to work. I think that second season when we drew 2-2 to Watford, having been 2-0 up, I was done at that point. Like that was. The football was awful. We conceded 30 shots on goal.
Oh, yeah.
We were trying to play out the back, and we were useless at it. Watch us now play out the back. It's different, isn't it?
Very different.
And that's not just a personnel thing. We got better under Arteta the minute he came in. We came to play out the back. So I wish him luck. Do I think he'll do well at Villa?
It's hard to say.
You know, I watched a really good video James Walcott did on his channel about it, saying that actually Villa's squad is primed to succeed in the way that Villarreal's did, with a wide number 10, a more direct winger, 2 up top. So I guess in that sense, maybe the player profiles are there, but there's a lot of pressure these days to play good football, you know. There's a lot of pressure to play good football. And I'm not sure Emery sides naturally play particularly great football. So if they're resilient and tough to beat, they'll pick up points and climb the table and do quite well.
Yeah, good football's nice at the end of the day, but winning is nicer, and teams have won things, you know, that we dream of winning moving forward without playing good football. So I don't want to hang everything on good football. Winning with good football is better than winning playing in a Jose / Conte style of way, definitely. But winning is the most important part of the game.
Ali says, but Emery wanted Fabinho, Zaha and didn't get them, James. Yeah, Ali, you know, you're talking about a £50 million midfielder and a £70 million forward. Like, you know, it's... Even Pep over the years wanted Sanchez, didn't get him. Wanted Fred and Jorginho, didn't get them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the Fred one, but he wanted Jorginho, we know that. There have been lots of players wanted Harry Kane, didn't get him. Had to settle for Haaland. No, but my point is, you know, it's... Sure, and this is where I think there was a complete structural issue. I don't think he really wanted Pepe. You know, it's one thing not getting the players you want, but at least get your backups and then the third choices. It felt like he was just kind of given. Apparently, he wanted Partey, but got Torreira.
Yeah, apparently he wanted Fabinho as well. And
yeah. So anyway, Don Robbie's death stare says, "I've read the script. Emery's ruining our title chances."
Big up Don Robbie's death stare.
Desaf, I hope I pronounced it right. Desaf says, "What do you guys think about changing Saka's position? I believe he'd be a world-class left central midfielder. He just doesn't have enough pace and flair to reach the top tier right wingers. He's still a class player though." Do you know what it is with Saka? Saka, I think, is very good at lots of things. He's very good with his left foot. He's very good with his right foot. But because he's so good with his right foot as well, maybe it kind of dilutes some of the other things. Like if you're very good at lots of different things, people then go, well, what's your thing? What's the one thing? So he is good at beating players, but he's also very good at holding the ball up, turning players and bringing others into it. He's also very good at understanding when to beat a player and when to play the pass. He's also very good at getting to the back post. He's good at a lot of things. So we naturally think, well, maybe he's not flary enough or as good a dribbler. And actually, he is good at those things. He just does a lot.
Yeah, I think he's got. Yeah, I think Saka's still growing and developing as well. And I think he's got agility. I think he gets, you know, he's got a quick turn of pace on him. Helps him get away from defenders. He's started this season holding up the ball a lot more. He's got a certain move where he holds the ball up and manages to spin around the player. I've seen him do it multiple times this season.
Getting it right, yeah.
And with that, he's got a burst which takes him, you know, a few feet ahead of the defending right back, centre back, whatever it is. So I'm seeing new things from Saka this year that I didn't last year, and we're going to be seeing new things from Saka moving forward for the next few seasons because he is still that young.
Yeah.
But listen, everywhere Saka's played so far for us, you know, left back, left wing, right wing. He played number 10 for us a couple of times. Everywhere he's played, he's shown the attributes needed to play in that position. Do I think he'd be a good left centre mid in a number 8? I do think he can cope well there. But am I giving up on him on the wing? No way, because again, I'm seeing a lot more from him this season than I saw last season. So,
I think he's got a lot to offer as a left winger as well. You know that goal Martinelli scored against Liverpool when Odegaard slipped him in. He made that run from out to in. I can see a lot of that from Saka. And actually, when you're left-footed, the ball doesn't have to be as perfect, because if you're not in front of goal, you can whip it across goal. And he's got a good enough right foot to bury it. I think he could do well there. Dave Jordan says, I've lost him. I'm so sorry. I still remember the outrage over not playing Saka left wing back in the Europa League against Villarreal. Dave, I remember that too. And this is Robbie Robbie will never remind you of these, right? I might be getting this Zinchenko one wrong at left back, but we had a big debate that day about whether it was going to be Xhaka at left back or Saka, and I said it was going to be Xhaka, and he was like, no, absolutely not. It'll be Saka. Odegaard will be on the wing, blah blah. Or Smith Rowe, I can't remember who it was. I said I'm adamant it's going to be Xhaka at left back, because he'll just play this inverted role. I got that one right. So it's actually 1-1 on the left back debates, but we didn't shake on it or bet any money. So no point in me going up to Robbie and saying, do you remember that debate from 2 years ago?
It cancels it out.
Can I have 50 quid? Yeah, no chance. Shrez says, Unai inherits a way better squad in Villa than the Sevilla team he won the Europa League with. Emery has done great stuff and deserves respect. Thoughts? Yeah, this guy is clearly a very good manager. He won, I think, Villarreal's first ever trophy.
I think. Yeah, well, it's first in a while, if not first, because...
someone the other day, I was listening to a video, said first ever, and I was like, whoa, really?
Could be.
And
first major.
And he's won 4 Europa Leagues. 4. That's incredible.
That's mad. 3 in a row, isn't it?
3 in a row with Sevilla. And 4, we know how difficult it is. Yeah, Villarreal, their 1 trophy is that. That is unbelievable. Fair play to him. Fair play. That is incredible.
And in the year in between, he made the final with Arsenal. So,
yeah.
What's that? In four full years of Europa, he lost 1 game. The final that we was in.
Because he didn't. I think, yeah, you're right. Well, 18-19 it's that final. Then 19-20 wasn't there. And then 2021. No.
He wasn't. 2020, 2021.
18-19 was the final. Sorry, 17-18 was the final. No, it wasn't.
No, that was... Wenger left at 18. 18-19 was the final.
Yeah.
Then the next season he got sacked.
Yes, he did.
That was 19-20.
But we weren't in the Europa League final. It was that 2020. It was the year after, 20 to 21.
Wait, he didn't make Europa League final in his first year?
No, he did. That was...
wasn't that 18-19?
18-19. And then 19-20 was when he left and Arteta came in.
Yeah. So obviously he didn't make it then, but...
Then Olympiacos, yeah. Yeah, of course he wasn't.
He didn't have a club, yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. So in 5 seasons of Europa League football, he's won 4 of them and lost 1 game.
Mad.
He's a great manager, of course he is. And as I said, I wish luck to him in terms of I wish him a good life, and I wish him success in his career to a degree. Just don't stop us doing anything.
Don't fuck up our
our
our ambitions.
I think it's a great appointment for both. I think Villa's a big club, and Emery I think is coming back into the Premier League at a level that will maybe, and I mean with all due respect, I really do, maybe respect his approach a little bit more.
Probably
in the short term until he's able to build what he wants to more long term. And I think
definitely a better manager than Gerrard. There's no doubt about it. They've made an upgrade there.
I had this debate with AGT on United View, Lampard or Gerrard. I think Lampard's a better manager.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Emery's middle name is Villa. Is that right? He'll do well at Villa because he's won more than their whole dressing room combined, says Dave Jordan.
That's Coutinho there.
Yeah, I was going to say Coutinho's there, and I get what you're saying, but actually most Premier League squads you look at, they can point to someone. Do you remember when Barcelona had 5 Champions League winners in their squad?
Well, even Man United recently have had a few they got a few Champions League winners. Varane, Casemiro, couple there.
It is Man United, but
Didn't De Gea win one for them?
Yeah, De Gea's won a Premier League,
not Champions League. No, that was Van der Sar, the last one, isn't it?
Stoke had Bojan, Afellay, that left-footed centre back, whose name I can't remember.
Left-footed, what, next to Puyol? Marquez? Nah.
No. The young guy who didn't quite make it. Let me see. Stoke squad, 2015. I love doing this.
Oh, you're talking about Stoke?
Yeah, Stoke.
Oh,
Arnautovic.
I thought you were talking about Barcelona here.
No. Although
Stoke had 5 Barcelona players. Is that what you're saying?
Had 5 Champions League
Oh,
winners.
yeah. I remember that period. Afellay, Bojan.
So they had Marc Muniesa, Mark Muniesa.
Afellay Bojan 3.
Bojan. Afellay.
Martins Indy, the chat is saying.
Arnautovic. Was it Martins Indy? They also had
Arnautovic.
Hesse.
Oh
The
yeah,
Real
yeah,
Madrid.
yeah, they did, didn't it?
But did he win the Champions League? with
Stoke
Madrid?
really tried to turn it around over
Oh,
there.
fair enough. Charlie Adam was in them. Look at this squad. What can I just say? What a squad! Butland, Barsley, Eric Peters, Muniesa, Stephen Ireland, Glenn Johnson, Odin Wingy, Arnautovic, Afellay, Van Hinkel, Charlie Adam, Steve Sidwell, Janelli and Bula. Yeah, he was a football manager legend. Peter Crouch, Bojan. What a squad. Where would that squad finish in the league this season? That's my question. Let's have a look at their 2014 team. Why am I spending an AFTV live looking up Stoke squads? It's good fun. Begovic, Robert Huth. Did he win one?
Did you say Shaqiri?
Shaqiri? No, I didn't. They've had loads.
Yeah.
They've had loads of Champions League winners. And Zonzi, what a player. Jonathan Walters, 2 own goals in one game. Good player though. Quite a good pundit. I think I've heard some of his. So yeah. Yeah. What a super team. All right, we'll leave it there. Was that Odin Wingy? Where did he try and leave when he did that?
And he drove away somewhere.
But was he at West Brom?
I think he was at West Brom, but where did he think he was going?
QPR, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Yeah, it might have been.
West Brom to QPR. Wigan? Is he at Wigan? Guys, I don't know what this live has become, but you know what? It's fun when it's me Turkish. You know, we get to look up random players and random signings. So Lille to Lokomotiv Moscow to West Brom to Cardiff to Stoke. He went to Cardiff. I don't remember that. Anyway, there you go, guys. Little history lesson for you.
A Stoke history lesson.
Like this video if you enjoyed reminiscing over Stoke greats. That was a good Stoke team. And Odin Wingy's transfer moves and all that. That was quite a time. That was peak Barclays. Rafa says, thinking back to Emery's time always brings me back to the time Laka snatched a last-second equaliser against Southampton and nobody celebrated.
Yeah, them equalisers don't hit the same when you're not fucking doing anything else in the season.
That was dark. I remember when it to the back of the net, everyone was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Now, of course, listen, you're always happy for an Arsenal goal, but that was a dark time. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this really random live, but you know, we'll chat about some stuff. Of course, tomorrow we are back covering that PSV game. Check out everything that Lee, Cecil, Ty believes out there, Julian's out there. Brennan, of course, running everything. Without him, they wouldn't be able to do anything. So big up to Brennan. Go check out all the content that they're doing for the channel coming out today. Some's already out. Some is more is to come. And then they're going to be at the game, covering it all, interviewing fans. So yeah, Carl says big ups. Thanks for the entertainment. Glad you enjoyed it, Carl. We're going to leave it there. We'll catch you on the next one.
Love.